This all starts with mindset. I have a favorite story of a professional football player that worked with a great dietitian down in our Florida facility. He sent a text with a picture of himself and his daughter sharing a beet for the first time. He hated beets. He never wanted to try beets, but we know beets are amazing for increasing nitric oxide. We know they're great for cardiovascular function. But the fact of the matter was, is he was trying that performance food with his daughter, capturing that moment and sending it off to his coach. That's the feeling that we want people to get when they think about nutrition, when they think about performance fueling. It's not just about food and fluids. It's about having a great experience with food, getting excited about every opportunity you can eat, and intentionally choosing the best foods and fluids to enhance your performance. Another part of the mindset component of performance fueling is simply to help your clients and athletes create rituals. Simple strategies, starting simple, creating those rituals, and providing perspective. That really rounds out the mindset portion of performance nutrition. Our second nutrition mantra is eat clean. Eat clean relates to all the different types of foods that we can utilize in our performance nutrition strategy. When it comes to thinking about what foods actually do in our body, it's somewhat disconnected to how we describe those types of foods. Traditionally, they're carbohydrates, proteins, fats, fruits, and vegetables. And this language doesn't always connect with our athletes or our individuals that we're working with. So at Exos, what we've tried to do is actually connect what we call these foods with the functions that they perform in the body. Carbohydrates fuel our body. Protein helps to rebuild our body. Fats help to protect our cells and protect our tissues. And fruits and vegetables, the antioxidants, vitamins, minerals within them help to protect our body and protect our immune system. So instead of saying carbohydrate, protein, fat, fruits, and vegetables, we say fuel, build, protect, and prevent. So when it comes to fuel, again, we're talking about carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the #1 source of fuel for the body. When your body breaks down carbohydrates, it's breaking it down into glucose, and that is the primary source of fuel for your cells. Now, there's lots of debate in terms of what types of carbohydrates you should have and how much carbohydrate you should have, or should you have carbohydrate at all. But when you think about fueling movement, you have to have fuel for that movement, and your body needs carbohydrate. So the more movement that your athlete or your client has, the more carbohydrate they need. The less movement, the less they need. But one commonality is the quality of that carbohydrate. So when you're thinking about eating clean when it comes to carbohydrate or fuel, you want to choose the least processed forms of carbohydrate you can. That means the less man has touched it, the less the processing there is, the better the option is going to be. A good rule of thumb to think about in choosing carbohydrates is look at the fiber content. If it has at least 3 grams of fiber or more per serving, it's probably going to be a great choice. But all in all, if that's too complicated, just tell your clients to think less processed. The less processed, the better. Oatmeal, whole grains, quinoa, or any other type of crazy grain, and brown rice. These are all examples of minimally processed carbohydrates that provide your body with a nice, stable fuel source. Now let's talk about build, or protein. When we think about protein, we know that it's going to help us rebuild our muscles, but the amino acids that protein provide actually helps us protect our immune system. And those amino acids are involved in so many cellular functions. Protein is really important. When we think about the types of protein, again, it's about choosing clean proteins. We want to choose high biological value proteins, which means that the protein is easily absorbed by the body. At Exos, we have the saying, the less legs, the better. Fish have no legs, lean source of protein. Chickens and turkeys have 2 legs, take off the skin, no fryer, fantastic source of protein. And anything that had 4 legs while walking around on the earth, you just have to be more selective. Dairy products, red meat products, pork products, searching out for those lean options. If you're vegetarian or vegan, that's absolutely fine as well. You just want to make sure that you're finding complete proteins and getting enough protein to meet your needs. Soy is a great option, and also some of the grains are a fabulous option for proteins for vegetarian and vegans. You'll see a variety of foods that we've listed here that are all great sources of protein. Low-fat dairy, tuna, chicken, lean red meat, grass-fed if you can find it, and then eggs. we really like the whole egg. The egg white is where you'll find the majority of the protein, but actually the egg yolk is full of an essential amino acid called choline, which helps to protect the brain. So when you think about proteins, think about build and think about choosing proteins in the less legs, the better. Next is prevent. Remember, prevent is referring to fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables provide our body with a natural source of vitamins, mineral, antioxidants that really help to prevent disease, help to protect and improve the immune system, and really help to create a great environment that can handle the stress of the world. Fruits and vegetables are boring, and we have to communicate them to athletes and clients in a way that's different. When we think about the function of fruits and vegetables, again, providing the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants that help the body to prevent disease by enhancing the immune system, that's a little bit different. So here I've listed out a few of what Exos feels are the best fruits and vegetables, providing the most nutrient density. Kiwis, berries, apricot, mango, papaya, those are all fabulous fruits. Papaya specifically has an enzyme that helps to decrease inflammation. When we think about vegetables, bell peppers, which are an amazing source of vitamin C, squash, leafy greens that are deep in color, sweet potatoes, and then beets. All of those vegetables are providing a serious punch. Another way to make fruits and vegetables not so boring is to think about classifying them by the colors in which they are. So if you imagine when you're eating fruits and vegetables, the colors that are in those fruits and vegetables are representative of the antioxidants and the phytonutrients that actually function in different parts of the body. So when you think about red fruits and vegetables, you're impacting the heart and the lungs. For example, beets. We know beets are wonderful for cardiovascular function. Brain, heart, and cellular health are all going to be affected by your blue and purple type fruits and vegetables. The component in blackberries really helps with neurofunction in the brain. Orange foods are going to help with the skin and mucosal tissues. Your eyes and bone health are going to be impacted by your green fruits and vegetables. And then one category of color that's often forgotten about are your white fruits and vegetables. Garlic, ginger, mushroom. All of these white foods play a significant role in impacting our immune systems. So when we think about nutrition and we think about fruits and vegetables, think about the color of the foods. And this was really discovered by UCLA Medicine. Now let's talk about protect, or talk about fats. For many years, fats were considered bad. But now, when we think about fats, I think about them being one of the most powerful nutrients that we have to help protect our bodies against inflammation. When we think about choosing fats, we really want to focus on fats that give back, fats that provide nutrients to the body that are important to helping decrease inflammation. This nutrient is the omega-3 fatty acid. This is an essential fatty acid, meaning our bodies can't make it, but that fatty acid plays a huge role in the inflammatory process. So when we think about fats, we want to think about trying to get as many of those omega-3s as possible. Flaxseed and flaxseed oil is a great fat. Olive oil when it's served at room temperature, seeds, avocado, and then different types of nuts all provide great fats. Our three favorite nuts, you can say paw, pecans, almonds, and walnuts. They all offer different nutrient contents and nutrient qualities, but walnuts have the highest omega-3s out of those three different types of nuts. So we've talked a lot about the types of foods. The next piece of information is around how much of those foods. Every athlete and every client is going to be an individual, but they can start to gauge about what a serving size is with their hand. So when you think about carbohydrates, one serving of carbohydrate is going to be roughly about the size of the fist. A serving of protein is going to be roughly the size of the palm of your hand, or more specifically, a deck of cards. A deck of cards will have 21 grams of protein. When you think about the serving size for fats, it's like the tip of your thumb or a spoonful. If you're thinking about nuts and seeds, it'll be just the palm of your hand. When it comes to fruits and vegetables, you really want to fill your plate with lots of color. So trying to get as many fruits and vegetables as possible is central to the Exos Performance Nutrition methodology. The next nutrition mantra is eat often. We've talked about the types of foods to eat and roughly what their serving sizes are, but the next big thing is ensuring that your athletes and your clients are eating often enough to sustain their energy levels to fuel the movement that they have to do. There's a lot of research out there about nutrient timing, meal timing, and how often we should be eating. But when we think about meal timing, we're thinking about providing consistent fuel to the body. So over the course of the day, you want to start off with breakfast and then eat about every 3 hours to maintain that really steady blood glucose level. The longer you go without eating, the body has to start making its own fuel. So the goal is to maintain that fuel source and maintain the energy to the body by eating about every 3 hours. Other than just providing fuel to the body, there's something else that happens in terms of food choice when you go too long without eating. When our body gets into a starvation mode or a pre-starvation mode, our brain starts to change a little bit. In our brain, we have what's called the reward center. And the reward center is what drives us to do things that helps us survive. And eating is one of those things. There's research out there that shows that in a fasted state, the brain's reward center starts to become more active. In that research, they took a group of people in a fasted state and a group of people in a fed state and showed them a really high calorie, high salty, high fat dish. Those in the fasted state, their reward center was much, much more active. They found that food much, much more appealing. So when you're fasted and when you've gone a long time without eating, our body's drive toward high calorie, high sugar, high fat, high salt foods is higher, making it harder to make great choices. So eating often fuels your body, but also helps you to make the right choices. So when we think about eating often, it's about fueling throughout the day and creating that sustained performance. So how do you communicate eating often to your athletes and your clients? During a presentation one time, we were thinking about what does eating often really mean? We've been talking about encouraging athletes to eat every 3 hours or 4 to 6 meals a day for years. But what does that mean? When we did the math, it was 1,800 fueling opportunities every year. 1,800 fueling opportunities to provide the body with the right nutrients, the right fuel to help improve performance. That all starts off with breakfast. So when we think about building a breakfast, we want to make sure that we have high fiber carbohydrates, a lean protein, lots of color, and healthy fats to round that out. We want to make sure that we're getting breakfast within an hour of waking. When we're sleeping, our stress hormones are going up. Our cortisol levels are going up. The longer we wait after we wake up, the longer those stress hormones are up. It's the carbohydrate, the glucose, that really helps to bring that cortisol level down. So make sure to eat breakfast within an hour of waking. Continuing on that pattern of eating every 3 hours should be similar in nature. Making sure that you're having high fiber carbohydrates, great source of fuel, lean proteins, healthy fat, and color, and blending those nutrients together about every 3 hours. A common question that we get at Exos is, how much protein do I need? How much protein should I have at each of these meals? Your daily protein need for an active individual or an athlete is never going to be more than 1 gram per pound of body weight. We will typically recommend 0.8 to 1 grams of protein per pound per day. In terms of how much that means per meal, we recommend that it's fairly evenly split up throughout the day. There's some research out there looking between 20 and 30 grams of protein at each meal, but a lot of times it's hard for people to get those 6 meals per day. So overall, just try to think about breaking it up evenly, and that will get you the protein levels that you need over the course of the day.